Alright, well, hello viewer, and welcome to a bit of a preview video. I'm your host, PPChoo, and welcome to AGEOD's upcoming title, The 30 Years of War, dealing with, well, exactly kind of what it says here, a very interesting period in, well, European history here. So, I mean, in the past we've checked out a lot of AGEOD's titles, and they do a wonderful job covering a lot of, I would say, not so often covered periods. I mean, they took a look at World War One in the To End All Wars, and they also took a look at Alia Jacta Est, which was the Roman Civil War title, and they also have a wide variety of games covering the American Civil War, the American Revolution, Napoleon's campaigns, and what's the last one here? The Russian Revolution through Revolution under Siege. So yeah, as you can probably tell, they do a great job in covering these niche periods, and the 30 Years of War here is no different. So currently, I wanted to preview you guys kind of the layout of some of the scenarios. As it turns out, right now we have a bit of a problem with recording the combat system within the game, so unfortunately we won't be able to roll in, too many turns and all that. But from that perspective, it shouldn't be too big of an issue if we do something, relatively quick, like a 15-minute primer on the game or something like that. And that is kind of exactly what I wanted to bring you guys today. Right, so taking a look at the basics of the game, you currently, as it stands with the press preview version of the game, you get about 3 tutorials over here, and 5 full-fledged tutorials, where technically 4 in one grand campaign. So you have the Bohemian Revolt, the Danish phase, the Paladins, the Swedish intervention, and the entirety of the conflict, the 30 Years of War, kind of going in reverse order here. The 30 Years of War scenario does a good job in kind of portraying the full event from 1618 to 1648 here, and it is a 30-month or 30-day per turn slog, 363 turns. You can play as either the Holy Roman Empire, trying to kind of break back this Protestant revolt, or if you will, or as the Protestant revolutionaries, kind of trying to do their thing, break up the empire and all of that. So yeah, it's a very interesting game. It's very asymmetric in the sense that the Holy Roman Empire, of course, starts out pretty strong as the war continues here, and is portrayed inside these smaller scenarios. Firstly, I mean, the Bohemian Revolt happens. It's 48 turn slog through the early phase of the war. Moving through there, the Protestants kind of pick up pace with the entry of things such as like Denmark over here. The Paladins, which is a scenario that I'm not too terribly familiar with, but it's a little bit shorter, coming at 9 turns. And today we'll be checking out the Swedish intervention here, which is a bit later in the war, where the Swedes come into effect. King Gustavus Adolphus over here lands with a force to support his allies, but he has his own goals of trying to expand Sweden into the Baltic Sea bordering parts of Germany here. So right, let's take a look at this scenario, and afterwards let's take a look at the 30 Years of War scenario starter as the Protestants. Okay, so there we go. We've loaded up into the game, and as in AGEOD fashion, we have a wonderful campaign map here with a lot of different troops, a lot of different things going on here. And yeah, overall, I mean, so far I've enjoyed playing this scenario a lot. It's been a lot of fun, and taking a look at the basics of it, we play as, from the Protestant side, as the Swedish interventionist force over here, led by the king. So I mean, as you can probably tell here, the game largely happens on the map of well, Germany and the associated HRE states. Some of these areas of the map will be, of course, kind of blackened out at the very start, and the Swedish intervention scenario here largely deals with kind of how the HRE originally didn't think very much of the Swedish force over here landing onto the shores of Pomerania and Mecklenburg over here. And throughout the scenario, I'll bring up the briefing once again. How it's kind of meant to be played is that, on one hand, the Swedes have to try to ally themselves to the Protestant forces on land already, such as inside Berlin and in associated areas, by capturing towns, and overall proving to the people over here that they are a force to be reckoned with. So as you gradually kind of capture towns, swing different cities over here to your alliance, different minor nations or minor states within the Holy Roman Empire will start to join you, and at that point you can really just start to sweep in. As you gain power, you can sweep through the lands of the Holy Roman Empire here until ultimately kind of break their morale and win the war. And well, going into kind of the little background about this conflict, I mean, it is 1630 during this particular time, with the 30 Years of War. What to the best of my knowledge, because it's not say terribly a period that I'm that familiar with. It's obviously, say for example, on one level this religious conflict, and on another, during this particular time, everybody was, I would say, kind of eyeing the lands of the Holy Roman Empire here, with France eyeing it from the west, Sweden and the Scandinavian countries from the north, and also, oddly enough, I mean, Spain and people coming from the little bits of what would be the Netherlands and Belgium, right, with the United Provinces. So it was a brewing ground for this kind of religious conflict on one side, and also a bit of a power struggle on another. And overall, I mean, as you can probably tell by the length of the war, was quite a lengthy and difficult struggle for the people here. So that takes a look into this scenario. I mean, starting off, I've played this a little bit, so what we'll do is move Gustavus's force over here to Landsberg to try to finish off the garrison right away, and to overall secure the northern area before moving down south. But unfortunately, as soon as we get into the combat, the game kind of crashes there, which is rather unfortunate. So taking a look at the map over here, you have quite the beautiful map. We'll take an in-depth look at this later on inside the grand campaign scenario, which I believe is a little bit more opened up there for starters there. Taking a look at some of the unique features in the game, let's move towards the northern part of the map to check out the stuff over there. Right, so you have a wide variety of different countries represented by the tiles up here, as odd as that sounds. There's two sides, both of these, where all of these different countries, if you will, can pledge kind of allegiance to one side or another. Depending on their loyalty to the Protestants or the Imperials, you may or may not see them kind of enter your sphere of conflict on their own accord, like such. And yeah, overall, a lot of different countries. There's the ability to actually, exchange prisoners and stuff, which is kind of located up here. And taking a look at the map, just briefly, you can see that there's a lot of these little central towns and the associated kind of forests and plains and mountains around them. I think we've already checked out the troops over here, and coming from pike and shot, we should be slightly familiar with how these conflicts were fought. So taking a look at the individual troops over here, such as for example the Yellow Brigade over here, they have a little bit of artillery mounted in them. They have pikemen, and they of course have musketeers kind of inherent in them. And as you can see, this is this being a Swedish and Protestant force. They have both of the types of troops present within them as well. So yeah, overall, in standard AGEOD fashion, you have a lot of very flavorful troops, a lot of stuff going on around the map here, and overall it makes for a very fully fledged game. So let's hop back and let's take a look at the full campaign for the full array of options, where a glimpse into them. Right, so there we go, and this is the full conflict scenario here. So this is again the 300 turn type of deal. And yeah, so it looks like the map has been slightly expanded in the side here, but largely, I mean, as you can see, a lot of the areas are kind of hidden away for the time being, I would imagine. Don't really know if these areas open up, but they seem to be present on the map, and they seem to be largely, inaccessible, but nevertheless they seem to be formed in the sense that the province is already here and all. Right, so taking a look at the conflict at the very start, from the looks of things, it would seem as though, yeah, at the very start of the war, the Protestants had a little bit more power inside the south, inside the east over here in Bohemia and the such. And right, so from here we can tap through some of the tabs and take a look at some of the options that you'll have when you play the game. So in AGEOD fashion, you have the tabs over here for government, or rather for military, government, loyalty, and diplomacy. And through these, typically you have a wide variety of these historical options that you'll be able to fire off to use. As it currently stands from the looks of it at the very start of the game, you don't necessarily have those. But for example, in the Swedish intervention, you have the option of hiring mercenary bands in the form of hussars, and you also have the ability to demand payment from France if you play as Sweden, seeing as how France offered to subsidize the war, kept the Holy Roman Empire weak for them to eventually sweep through. So yeah, overall we get a listing of the troops and stuff like that, a listing of objectives and things like that as well. And overall, I mean, it is a very flavorful game. The last two things that we should probably check out are the two options over here. As in AGEOD game fashion, you have a wide variety of these historical action cards that you can fire off. So from the looks of it, we can recruit kind of mercenaries through here rather instead, by putting down these cards and recruiting things from there. We can also kind of convert different provinces. We could also raid different provinces, provided that they're not friendly to us. And later on, you can also have siege works and the such like that. And overall, a lot of different options here. So closing off here, I wanted to bring you guys one last thing. I know this has been a bit of a general preview, but currently, be rest assured, we're still kind of working through the last little bit of things to bring you guys a full, preview let's play of the game. I wanted to show you guys how fast the turn processes during the game, because it is, I would say, quite an improvement over the other AGEOD games where, turns could be quite lengthy. In here, I think they've drastically shortened it, and by that, I think they've made a major improvement. As for me, the turn times is one of the bigger things for the game. Right, so there you go. I mean, even though it is fairly early inside the campaign, it is still, generally speaking, pretty faster processing times. For some of the past games, of course, it would take over about a minute or so to actually get the turn running. As you can probably tell by here, it definitely does not do that. And yeah, overall, I would consider that a great boost to the playability of these games. And of course, it makes them absolutely so much easier to kind of introduce to new players. So looks like finally we have some military options open, so I can, take a look at this. And yeah, so as you can see, you can fire off different council events over here. In this case, it would be more so for recruitment, but some of these are very complex. These really just kind of appear and go as time goes on, so I would imagine they fully flesh out during the middle towards the end of the game, perhaps. Anyhow, I hope you guys enjoyed this preview video, and if so, be sure to look out for the preview Let's Play, hopefully coming very, very soon. And to that, be sure to like and subscribe for those automated notifications. Anyhow, for now, we'll sign off, giving you guys a slight, glimpse into the game.